It was one of those nights that nobody expected to turn into a global headline. The lights were flashing, cameras clicking, and every eye in the room seemed locked on a single woman, Nicole Kidman. She stepped out at Vogue World, Hollywood, in a black satin gown that shimmered like liquid midnight under the spotlights. It wasn't just a red carpet appearance. It was a statement, a warning, a rebirth. Because this wasn't the Nicole Kidman people had known for years, smiling quietly beside her husband, country star Keith Urban. This was a woman who had walked through heartbreak, walked through judgment, and somehow still managed to walk back into the room like she owned it. The crowd didn't know how to react at first. She wasn't hiding her emotions, she was wearing them. That sharp, structured bodice, the daring slit, the old Hollywood curls that framed her face. Everything about her look screamed confidence, defiance, and something else. Something raw. This was her revenge dress. And the timing? Perfectly ruthless. Because just days before this event, the news had broken. After 19 years of marriage, Nicole and Keith were officially over. For years, fans thought theirs was one of those rare, stable Hollywood love stories. Two stars who had somehow beaten the odds, who raised their daughters away from the chaos and fame. But when the split hit the headlines, the world was stunned. What happened to the couple who once held hands at every award show, who sang love songs about each other, who looked like they were built to last? And maybe that's why this moment hit so hard. Nicole wasn't crying in a corner. She was walking the runway, alone, unbothered, and unbreakable. People said you could feel it in the air, that energy, that unspoken electricity when she appeared. Some whispered that the dress was designed to hurt, a subtle jab meant for Keith. Others said it was a celebration of her freedom, the kind of moment where pain turns into power. Either way, Nicole Kidman didn't have to say a single word. The look did the talking. Flashback to just a few months earlier, when everything still looked perfect. The couple had been photographed at a charity gala in Nashville, smiling, holding hands. But insiders had already begun to notice the cracks. Keith was touring constantly, Nicole was filming overseas. They spent more time apart than together. And when they were together, it wasn't the same. One close friend allegedly said, "You could tell something was off. She was quieter, more distant. He looked tired, distracted." Then came the whispers, the arguments, the therapy sessions, the moments caught by paparazzi where neither of them smiled. Behind closed doors, things were unraveling. But Nicole, ever the professional, never let it show. She attended premieres, smiled for cameras, and kept the world guessing. Until the divorce papers landed, sudden, shocking, and final. The statement was brief: irreconcilable differences. But the silence that followed spoke louder than any explanation. Keith went quiet. No posts, no appearances. Nicole disappeared for a short while too, staying with close friends and her daughters. But when she finally re-emerged, it was like she had planned her comeback with surgical precision. The Vogue World event wasn't just another fashion moment. It was a declaration. The dress itself became a symbol. Sleek, dark, daring. The fabric hugged her like armor, yet flowed like freedom. She didn't pick a soft pastel or a sad tone. She picked black. The color of endings. The color of strength? The same kind of color Princess Diana wore the night her ex-husband went public with another woman. That night, decades ago, Diana's revenge dress became legend. And now, Nicole had created her own version. The whispers started even before she walked in. "She's coming tonight," one journalist murmured to another. "Nicole's coming, alone." The moment she stepped out of the car, flashbulbs exploded. You could see it in her face, calm, confident, not even pretending to hide. It wasn't about showing Keith what he'd lost. It was about showing herself what she still had: power, presence, and peace. People on social media went wild. One tweet read, "Nicole Kidman just redefined the meaning of revenge." Another said, "This isn't heartbreak. This is resurrection." Within hours, her look was trending worldwide. Fashion blogs broke down every detail: the hair, the makeup, the posture. even the way she smirked when she turned on the runway. Someone zoomed in on her hand. No wedding ring, but a diamond-studded bracelet glittering like victory. But beneath all that glamour, there was something deeper. Because this wasn't just about Keith. It was about survival in an industry that loves to tear women apart once they've loved, lost, or aged. For years, Nicole had been typecast. The devoted wife, the graceful actress, the quiet icon. But this moment wasn't quiet. It was loud. It said, "I'm still here, and I'm done playing nice." The story of Nicole and Keith had once felt like a fairy tale. They met in 2005, both at turning points in their lives. Nicole, still healing from her painful split with Tom Cruise, had found in Keith a sense of calm. He, the Australian country boy with a soulful voice, fell for her elegance instantly. They married in Sydney the following year, in what fans called Australia's royal wedding. For a long time, they were inseparable. Keith often said she saved his life, especially when he entered rehab early in their marriage. Nicole stood by him, quietly, through it all. They built a home in Nashville, raised 2 daughters, and seemed to live a life far removed from Hollywood chaos. She once said in an interview, "We do normal. School runs, dinners, home." It felt genuine, until one day, it didn't. Fame has a way of eroding even the strongest walls. His tours stretched longer, her shoots went farther, and the spaces between their lives began to grow. Rumors of tension followed them, though both denied them for years. But insiders claim the final straw came during Nicole's recent filming in Europe. Sources said Keith didn't visit once, even though he was free for part of the tour. Meanwhile, she allegedly found messages, not necessarily incriminating, but enough to make her question his honesty. Whatever the truth, by the time she returned home, something in her eyes had changed. And maybe that's why the revenge dress moment felt so powerful. It wasn't about pettiness. It was about taking control of the narrative. Hollywood women rarely get to do that. To say, "You know what? I'm fine. Actually, I'm better." As she walked that runway, there was a flicker of emotion when the crowd stood and cheered. Some swore she teared up slightly, though she quickly brushed it off with a smile. The cameras caught every second. That small smile, poised, sharp, and knowing, became the image of the night. Within hours, magazines called it the look that ended the fairy tale. Keith Urban, meanwhile, was performing that same night at a charity concert in Nashville. He didn't mention Nicole once, but as videos of her flooded social media, fans in his audience noticed something strange. Between songs, he seemed unusually quiet. "You could see it on his face," one concertgoer said later. Like he'd just realized the world had moved on without him. The following morning, Keith's name was trending right under Nicole's. But while she was being praised for elegance, he was facing uncomfortable headlines. People speculated about what went wrong, what he might have done, and how he must feel watching her glow so effortlessly post-split. He didn't respond to any of it, and that silence only made it worse. Meanwhile, Nicole's team remained graceful. No interviews, no public shade, just one subtle post on her Instagram, a photo of roses with the caption, "New beginnings smell sweet." That was all it took. Her fans flooded the comments. "Queen energy. This is how you do a breakup." She's not crying, she's thriving. Fashion critics began calling her look a masterclass in empowerment. Even designers spoke out, saying how her outfit wasn't about seduction, but transformation. She walked like a woman who's seen the worst and decided to still smile, one stylist said. Days later, talk shows dissected the moment. One host said, "Nicole Kidman didn't just wear a dress, she told a story." Another replied, "That's how you close a chapter." And it's true. There's something about how she carried herself. The calm after chaos, the elegance after everything falls apart. She didn't need to shout her feelings. She lived them. Behind the scenes, friends said Nicole had been preparing for that night for weeks. Not just physically, but emotionally. She wanted to show up for herself, not to prove anything to Keith or to the world. She reportedly told a close friend, I spent years shrinking myself to fit into other people's versions of love. Not anymore. That line became symbolic online. Women everywhere began quoting it, sharing clips of Nicole's walk with captions like "revenge dress energy" and "she didn't lose him, he lost her." For many, the moment wasn't about celebrity gossip anymore. It was about reclaiming identity after heartbreak. But not everyone saw it that way. Some tabloids accused Nicole of being calculated and cold. One headline read, "Nicole Kidman turns divorce into a fashion show." But her fans fought back. "No," one wrote, "she turned pain into power." Another added, "If men can go to awards after cheating scandals and smile, women can wear a beautiful dress after being hurt." Meanwhile, Keith's camp tried to control the narrative. His PR team released a gentle statement thanking fans for their continued support and asking for privacy. But privacy doesn't exist when your ex-wife just set the internet on fire. As the days passed, more layers of the story unfolded. A few insiders suggested that the split wasn't just emotional distance. It might have involved disagreements about career sacrifices. Nicole allegedly wanted to move back into more demanding film roles. Keith preferred she slow down and focus on family life. Neither budged. And sometimes, love simply can't survive two people growing in opposite directions. But what made Nicole's revenge dress moment legendary wasn't the drama. It was the control. Hollywood has always painted women post-divorce as broken or bitter. Nicole flipped that script completely. She didn't cry for sympathy or fade quietly. She made her first post-divorce moment unforgettable. And maybe that's the real revenge, living beautifully after someone expected you to crumble. Because for years, she supported Keith, stayed loyal, helped him through addiction and fame pressure. When it was her turn to need stability, the world watched her walk away with grace instead of anger. After the event, more photos surfaced, candid shots of her backstage, laughing with models, sipping champagne, hugging friends. She looked free. A photographer captured her mid-laugh, head thrown back, the kind of happiness that can't be faked. That image went viral too. Someone captioned it, "Happiness looks good on her." Weeks after the breakup, Nicole avoided direct talk about it. When asked how she was doing, she simply said, "I'm embracing change." Her calm confidence only deepened her mystique. That night, her walk, her dress, her silence became more than a fashion moment. It was a symbol of strength. While Keith Urban later spoke respectfully about their split, Nicole had already rewritten the story. She wasn't the heartbroken ex. She was reborn in silk, showing that heartbreak refines, not defines. Her quiet revenge wasn't anger. It was grace, transformation, and the art of walking away without looking back.